I was educated in Newport, Rhode Island back in the 60s, and it was a booming fishing port. I've been back there recently. There's one commercial wharf left, Paris Gondolas, and they're not allowed to use their trucks, only at certain hours of the day. And the place has been gentrified completely, and I don't see it being better off for it.
Putting a hotel over near the fort, if that continues, it's the fort first and then it's over here next. It's just going to continue on being not a fishing community, and we can just go be a part of Manchester, really, if you want to.
When tourism comes to any town, it seems like the first thing people forget is why people were coming in the first place, and let's pave it all over and put up condos and make room, and then they realize, wait, the reason people were coming because of all those old buildings and all the, the waterfront.
This is a real place, he said. My God, it's a real place. There are so few of them left today. You must do everything you can to protect it.
People in Gloucester tell me that the harbor is dead and the fish are all gone. The city wants to bring a hotel to the place where Clarence Birdseye invented frozen foods, put in more shops, and increase the hospitality trade. If tourism is the largest industry in the world, shouldn't Gloucester get a piece of the action too? I wanted to find out firsthand from the people who make their living from this harbor and know about its history, what their thoughts are about changing the marine industrial zoning to accommodate these new ideas. This is what I discovered.
We have here in Gloucester Harbor what is probably the oldest industrial park in the United States.
At the very heart of our realness is the working waterfront, and we are now charged with creating and implementing a plan for its future, a plan that will hopefully take into account the deep history and tradition that our harbor is grounded in, and the real economic necessity for assuring its continuation and viability as a port, as home to the fishing fleet, and to an enhanced marine industrial economy.
Ports around New England become less economical for fishing. Boats are congregating in Gloucester, which still has enough facilities to support them, but is also closer to the fishing grounds.
Many boats actually want to move to Gloucester, but we have no dockage space for these boats, and that's the sad part.
Many of these are people who have been attracted to Gloucester specifically because we have the State Fish Pier Marina, and because we have a fish auction, and because we have ice, because we have a marine railway, and because we have the synchro-lifted roses, and we have welders, and we have hydraulic fixtures.
As the other harbors go out of business, those boats are coming here. Gloucester Harbor is on its way up with the strong fishermen of the future.
You can look at my dock. Our dock is changing. We have the land in here, which has been great. The whale watch. We now have the weed jack.
And these folks are purchasing. They're purchasing groceries. They're purchasing fuel. They're purchasing ice. They're offloading their catch here, which gives local people work.
Those guys go in and out all the time. There's jobs. There's a reciprocal through the local economy of at least 6 times in local spending.
All these other places, Marblehead, Newburyport, Newport, they're all closing down. Boats are coming here. And we have to have the capacity and the ability to do it. Somebody said, you can have it all, you can have it both ways. I tell my kid, you can't have it both ways. Nobody can have it both ways. Those two things are incompatible. One is diesel and waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and spreading out your nets and fish smell. That's not, if you're in your condominium, you're gonna look at that as a nuisance.
Putting condos on the harbor would be a cancer. Nobody should be able to live on the harbor like that.
Paint factory was referred to as a hopeless case, and we had to put condos there or the place would fall into the mud. And finally, the Ocean Alliance has stepped up to the plate.
I think what's exciting from our perspective is the history of Gloucester. Men that made their living from the sea. And that's what we do, running an oceanographic research group.
I run a research lab and center at the University of New Hampshire. It's called the Center for Large Pelagics. And I like to highly support the recommendation that Gloucester can also serve as a center for a marine biotechnology and marine cooperative fisheries research.
We're looking at scallops anywhere from 15 millimeters, like this, dime-sized. And some of them are up to 2 years old. We thought about these as a trademark, too.
People like myself would consider Gloucester a fantastic place to move our studies here if there were good opportunities.
Gloucester Biotechnology Initiative, its goal is to bring biotechnology, nanotechnology, marine biology, and other high technology businesses to Gloucester.
Marine biotech is an incredible fit for the industrial harbor. It's part of the knowledge economy, and it'll bring employment and taxes. You look at Ocean Crest, Neptune's harvest, it turned what was at one point a biohazard into an environmental benefit.
We unload fishing boats, we sell the fillet to the restaurant, and the rest we grind up and turn into a liquid fertilizer that is sold to farmers and home gardeners all throughout the country.
The idea for this product came from the UMass Marine Station research over in Hodgkins Cove for how to take fish waste and turn it into fertilizer. It eventually became, over the last few years, a huge product sold all over the country, and it's now employing 45 people. This is the kind of example of the combination of the academic research skills and the business acumen that resides here in Gloucester and makes it a great working waterfront.
I think those are the types of problem solving that Gloucester needs, and the industry that can provide jobs and expand the tax base while creating a future that comes from the fact that we're guardians of this place.
A value-added product out of Gloucester with Gloucester's name on it can't do anything but help Gloucester all over the place. As far as the tourist industry, people coming here to see the waterfront, to see the fishermen. If our federal regulators' promise is to be kept, certainly within the next 5 years or so, the groundfish industry should be coming back. Perhaps not to its former self immediately, but certainly to a reasonable place in our economy. Protein is worth too much money to let it lay fallow at sea.
I'd love to own my own boat someday, more than anything. I'd love to have my own boat and do that, for the rest of my life. It would be great. But I don't know if it's a wise choice. If I had the money right now, I don't know if I would buy a boat or not buy a boat.
The fishing industry will be here. It'll change, it'll morph, it'll be up, it'll be down, but all we have to do is incorporate some of these other ideas into our community.
The rebuilding target is 2014, and the fishery could be somewhere around 60 to 75 million pounds for Gloucester's share. It should go to between 250 and 300 million pound fishery in the groundfish fishery. The fish are back. There's a lot of fish out there right now.
There are several approaches on the table now, including the original draft harbor plan, which has passed through an extensive public process and has, to my mind, considerable value. Each has merits, but for me, any plan which begins in negativity with the myth that the waterfront is dead, fishing is gone forever, the future lies in tourism and recreational boating, is a plan driven by desperation rather than by imagination and an objective understanding of how one reinvests in a priceless resource. Such a plan would also be based on the selling out of Gloucester's marine heritage, on the loss of our identity as the nation's oldest fishing port. And I don't believe Gloucester people will stand for that.